One of the things that's important to consider when you're doing the forensic analysis is what data is at issue. And in particular with regard to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, GLB, HIPAA, what's the one common feature among them all? You have to have a permissible use. When you do the forensic analysis and you have somebody doing, let's say, application testing, they want to produce results. They want to show to the executive team that the money they invested in that forensic firm was worthwhile, so they want to show examples of the weakness, which may mean extracting Fair Credit Reporting Act data to include in the final report. Well, they may not have the right to access that during the forensic study. In fact, their access may be a violation of the law. Similarly with contracts, especially in the context of third parties, the contracts may limit who has access to that information, and it may not include a third-party forensic company. So being prospective in terms of writing those agreements and getting consumer consents, I haven't seen really much of any companies that in their user, when a consumer submits information and they get consent, included in that consent is the ability to run forensic analysis in the event of a breach, or even prospectively. And having spent time with the FTC and talking through some of these incidents for my clients, SQL injection is a very hot term for them. But it's not a difficult vulnerability to address. It is difficult when you're talking about the programmer environment and mentality, but it's something that can be done. I mean, the other place that I look for is statutes and regulations. So Tennessee just passed an amendment to a law that prohibits the sharing of passwords. FSMA just came out. I think the DHS just came out with some compliance matrices. In my dealings with regulators and in the courts, it's one of the questions that they ask. Are you looking proactively? How quickly did you identify this? And one means of being able to identify it quickly is having intrusion detection in place. Stepping back and just looking at the practical world, in my experience lately, probably the biggest threat is employees. People in my firm, people employed by my clients, their employees are going out on Facebook. So it's a big issue that we're struggling with, finding that balance between having good policies in place and realizing that employees are going to go out and go on these sites. The reason why I say employees are the weakness right now, social engineering. So we talked about forensic testing. It's really hard to test for social engineering. I mean, basically what you can do is train. Customer service reps are trained to be helpful. And it's very easy to manipulate a CSR to have them provide a password or to reset a password and send it to an email address that's not associated with the account. You get the right, it may not be the first person that I call. It may not be the second person that I call. But the 10th person that I call may be willing to circumvent the policies because they want to be helpful to me. I changed my email address. Come on, give me a break. I got to get into my system. Wham, I've got a password. And then finally, it's portability. Portability is a real serious issue, I think, especially when it comes to employees. But most organizations have plenty of laptops. How many organizations have asset controls in place? Where they know where those laptops are, when they're decommissioned, when they're wiped. A lot of issues with laptop, but the biggest one is when the employee takes it home and their kid gets on. And the problem with all that is that, again, back to the training point, my kids did not sit in my firm's security training.